Good evening, good afternoon, good everything. This is Reginal Drummer, the peopleologist, and welcome to another episode of We Are Ready. For everybody that's joining us, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, make sure you come over and like us over at Square Mile Media Atlanta. Like, share, and subscribe. We got a lot of good information, a lot of great content over here, and we'd like for you to share with your family, friends, and loved ones. Over here, we are ready. We always focusing on things that could help us be ready at all times. So there's always some tips on things to do to get yourselves in a position of readiness. And I have to throw this out as a caveat. I just say, I start sharing it. And one of the things was brought to my attention. Now tonight we're gonna be talking about Mother's Day. Moms on a mission. Moms. The most valuable, I would say the most valuable member of the species, mothers. Oh, we can't do without them. But we have to protect our women at all times. What's up there, Mr. Charlie Grant? How you doing, my brother? Happy Mother's Day to your family and everybody. But one of the things I wanted to share this evening, because a young lady did bring it to my attention, she said, Drummer, and she said, I hope that when you do your shows, you can alert women on things to do to help protect themselves. And and this is going to be real quick, but if you're ever on a bus, a train, except when you got assigned seats, if you're on a public transportation, make sure you take the outside seat and make sure you always take the outside seat. This is a way to protect yourself. We're in strange times and unbecoming times. And if you're in a seat and you're up against the window or you're up against the wall, that means you're trapped. That means you're trapped. There was a lady had a whole lot of problems, and nobody knew she was having those problems because the perpetrator was sitting outside of her. So if you're in a bus, a public transportation, make sure you just say, slide over and let them sit on that other end. Okay, so that's our tip for today. But for everybody out there saying, thanks to all the mothers, that's biological mothers, step up mothers, aunties, daughters, anybody that fills in the gap for women, uh, that motherly role, godmothers, all that. Uh, People that have stepped up in mom's position. I say a shout out to my mother, who is deceased. This is second year without her. Edith Virginia Mosley Drummer. We were blessed with her for 62 years. And think about a lot of the things that I learned from my mother. Uh, a lot of things that I really learned later as I got more closer to her and started to understand or understand some of the things that she did. A lot of stuff didn't like growing up, but hey, I think that made me a better person, a better man. So I have to say a shout out. Shout out to my stepmother, who's still alive, and Miss Bernice Drummer. She might get on here tonight, but she has definitely been a stable member of the family. And my mother, I always remember something my mother told me. She said, if something happened to me, y'all make sure y'all take care of Mama Bernice. This was my mother said. So we continue to show such love and much love for my stepmother, my step up mother. To all the women in my family, my aunts, all of them. I say a shout out to all the women that I know. And one of the things that we've been sharing on Facebook and other means of social media is letting people say some things about their mother. If you go over to the Moms on a Mission page, you'll see a lot of people talking about their moms, celebrating their moms, whether she's here or not here. And sometimes we have to look at it and say, we want our mothers to be here as long as they can be here. We want our mothers to be here as long as they can be here. Sometimes it's kind of sad. Mother's Day is a double-edged sword. It's two sides. Sometimes you can feel a little lonely, a little depressed, a little sad, and then sometimes if you're here, you can feel good. Uh, right now, I feel good because I know my mom's in a better place, uh, and I can appreciate the moments and memories that I had with her, and I can say to myself, I might not be selfish, because I wanted to keep her here. And I started doing the math. I said, she's 104, and I'm 84, I don't know. I said, well, as long as she's willing to be here, And when older people tell you that they're ready to go home, sometimes you got to be ready to let them go. And that was the fact with my mother. But tonight, we're going to be joined by many people that have expressed concerns about their mothers. And also, we have mothers that outlive their children, because in today's time, you're not guaranteed that you will lay your mother to rest. We have crimes and different tragedies that affect mothers and put mothers in position where they have to bury their children. They have to bury their children. And that puts us in a unique position that a lot of mothers have not been in before. And a lot of people, family members, have not been in before. So we got a couple of people that'll be joining us, sharing that with us. What's up, Mr.? What's up there, Barry? What's up, brother? But I know you guys got a lot to say about your mothers and the importance of your mothers. Okay, but I'm about to bring two of my guests on board, and these are two ladies. One is the award-winning Miss Sylvia Hayes, also co-host of Good News at Prime Time. And the other one is another award winner, Miss Vanessa Riley Moore, who I had the pleasure of being introduced by the Honorable Dr. Sharon Beasley Teague. I just have to send a shout out there. But my sister, you've been doing a lot of work. Dothan, Alabama, you ain't too far from where I grew up. And we talked about that and a lot of things that you're doing. And you're one of those moms on a mission that's doing some things even to represent your children, because and I'll let you tell them that a little bit, but ladies, happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
And Miss Sylvia, is that all you coming in? Well, one of the things, and I give you a chance. I know I read your bio a whole lot that you've done a lot recently with the, and we hear that name a lot, Ben Crump. Unfortunately, a lot of times when we hear the name Ben Crump, that means some family has been violated.
Right.
And usually that's a Black family. Right. And there has to be some type of, you can't replace life, but, you have to have some type of resolution for the loss of life. But maybe you can, I know you military, you got a plethora of accolades that you're doing. You got a nonprofit organization, you got an etiquette program that you're working with mothers, and young people. But maybe you can, well, first, one of the things I want to ask is that you give us a little short snapshot about who you are and what you do, what moves and motivates you to do what you do. So welcome.
Hello. Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Vanessa Riley Moore. I am a decorated veteran from the Air Force. I spent approximately 30 years in the Air Force. I left here at 17. I left Dothan at 17, and I went into the Air Force, which provided me with the opportunities that I'm doing now with my own business as far as leadership and being able to let people know, young people, and also different corporations. I do etiquette training, professional development training for many corporations, schools, youth centers, you just name it, because everyone needs to be able to know that code of conduct so they'll know how to act and have a seat at the table. Because if you don't, then of course you're going to lose insight of your abilities to have your social skills. So that's one of the great things that I'm really proud of. And my mother, if it wasn't for my mother, I probably wouldn't have been in that field. When I was 12 years old, I was kind of awkward. I was the tallest in the class, 5'7" at 12. And I was always trying to bend over, to try to talk to my friends. And she was like, no, we're not going to do that. So I'm going to find you a class to go to. And she did. And I went to Wendy Ward Charm School. It was an 8-week class. And that class basically changed my entire life. And it afforded me opportunities when I was actually signed up for the Air Force, because I was always selected, to go different places, protocol, when they had the state dinners and things like that. I was always the one selected to help or either be there to assist others and trying to, set the table, whatever the case may be. So I just think that that's really one of the things, that's my passion, even though I have a lot of things, that I do, but teaching children, because I believe you have to start at a young age. You can't wait until you 15, 16, because that's a little bit too late. However, I do a lot of training with companies now. That's what I was telling you earlier. I had a training class I'm doing now for the employees at the Dothan Housing Authority here in Dothan. And it's a 6-week course, and it's, very detailed. And it's basically, we'll provide them with the tools they need to be successful.
Oh, okay. Well, you said something quite important, etiquette. A lot of times, and we just looking at the roles, mothers tend to teach us how to behave, be proper, how to sit down to the table and eat correctly, show us manners,
Right.
Those types of things. And a lot of times that is a softer part of the world, but we couldn't do without it.
Right.
We couldn't do without that womanly touch that helps us deal with just like social graces, behavior. And then mothers also, when it comes down to discipline, because, my mom she raised us as her and my aunts and my grandmother, and she didn't mind bringing that discipline. So, and I didn't have to get whooped that much, but she gave us a mama's look and that type stuff. I got Miss Sylvia. How you doing? We got to get that audio worked on. I can't hear there, Miss Sylvia, but we got to get you in there. I know you got some things to say. We affectionately call her Mother Hen sometimes because she's always watched. She got us and she got the kids and all of them. But when you look at certain things that the women do bring to the table, and I don't know if we said it, but Mother's Day goes back. They say it goes back a long time ago, and here in the United States, Woodrow Wilson kind of made it a thing, okay, officially, a holiday to celebrate women. Especially in any capacity of care that they had towards the family. So we are honored to have our women recognized on this second Sunday in May. But when we look at some of the things that you're involved in, and I know you were involved with, we say mothers, when they are in cases where mothers have to lay their children to rest before they go. That can be a double-edged sword, because a lot of people say, well, I kind of feel some kind of way on Mother's Day because my mother's gone or whatever. But we also have mothers that are here. They have lost children, whether it be some act of violence or tragedy or, just an act of God. And that can be something that affects the mindset of women, especially during this time period. Well, maybe you can lend an ear to that for us, okay? Because I know you were saying something about, but maybe you can bring us up to speed on how you look at Mother's Day from that perspective.
Well, Mother's Day has always been really special, because we have a very large family. And when I lost my mother in 2017, I really thought that the earth was going to end. When you lose your mom, it's just something it's nothing like it. And being a single parent for over probably 17, 18 years at one point, my husband was killed in a car accident, tractor trailer accident. So I was already instantly a single parent at that point with 3 young girls. So Mother's Day to me have always been very special, and also Father's Day. So, but Mother's Day, is very significant because my mother was there for me. Being in the military, they didn't really care about if you had a babysitter or not. I had to go on an assignment. And my mother was very instrumental in helping me during the summers for sure, because I would try to get most of my assignments in the summer, because she was a school teacher. So she could come and stay with me, or I could go pick her up and take her wherever I was going to, and she would be there with the children. So it's just very important. Mothers are they're just there for you when you need them. And I really miss my mother. And I think that as you grow older, you really realize how important that role is as a mother. And then, like my mom always say, you're going to give me a report card once you get older, and I want to make sure it's maintained as an A. So, and okay. She really did, and actually got an E for effort and excellence. But all mothers are not like that. And being a single parent for so long, I think I have a really soft heart for moms, because every child is not going to treat their mom like they should. And I've seen that as well, being disrespectful, taking advantage and things like that, and putting so much on them that they really didn't have an opportunity to live a fruitful life. That's when it becomes, really detrimental, because something needs to happen about, everyone needs to be able to enjoy their life and be able to enjoy their grandkids as well, without someone being a burden on you, So my mother is very special. I was 7 years old. My grandmother passed away, but I remember her. She was of Jamaican heritage, and my grandfather was of Cherokee Indian. So I don't remember him because he passed away like in 1951 or so. I wasn't even born, but I could tell from my mother how she would always talk about her family. It was 10 of them. One passed away during birth. And I was always, glued to hearing stories and things like that. They had a farm. They were one of the first people that actually had a store that had ownership in land. Not first, but the store in that little town in Newville. They did have a little store. And my grandfather would help build the barracks at Fort Rucker here in Dothan. So okay. I have those memories when I go to Fort Rucker. I always think about them. My mother and father got married at the chapel at Fort Rucker. So I was always, thinking about that when I pass the chapel when I go to Fort Rucker. But I just think that it's very critical that young people realize the importance of a good relationship with their mother. They really can learn a lot from them. My mother was very wise. She always believed in, don't stop. Regardless, you got your bachelor's, your associate's, your bachelor's, just keep learning. And that would keep you alive and it would keep you vibrant, because she did that her entire life. She lived to be 90 years old. She lived a great life. She traveled a lot with me. And, for people that's out there listening, I just hope that, do some things, make your mom feel special, because she is special. And when we get older, mothers feel like, we don't want to be bothered with them, and we're in a rush, we're impatient. And I've seen that too. But I was always very patient with my mom. She go to the grocery store, take your time. But, I had a sister that she's like, all right, mom, it's time to go, so it's just a difference of how we look at things, because you don't ever want your mom to feel that they don't matter. They're not worthy. So, and that's what I lived to make sure my mother was happy, and whatever she needed, if I was there for her whenever she needed me. And that's why I moved back home. I moved back home in 2015, so I could be closer to my mother, because I've been, traveling for 30 years, so, but yeah. And then on another not so great note is that, losing, it's so different when you've already lost a husband. And I've always been I was a single parent for so long, so my kids only knew me. And then to lose my oldest daughter, that just, I basically recently I was just able to talk about it. She passed away in 21, and luckily I have her grandkids. She had 3 kids. She had 3 kids and my son-in-law. So I have my 3 grandkids that I always cherish and, make sure that they know her. When you in this situation, when you lose a child, make sure that you take the grandchildren and be able to show them things and go take them places where their mother or father has been. My grandkids wanted me to take them where they were born, where she was born. I took them on a trip. We went on a 4-state trip to Biloxi, where she was born at Keesler Air Force Base. They wanted to go up to the delivery room. We went up to the delivery room and I talked to the colonel there, and they were like, "Oh, come on, you can do whatever you want." And then my little grandbaby was like, "My mom died." She just out of nowhere, so the colonel just was like, "Oh my gosh," but they really want to know about their mother because they were really young. The youngest was 4 and a half when she passed away. And then the oldest was 11. And then the middle was 8. So they do know their mom, but the little one doesn't know a lot. All she knows that I woke up one day and my mom wasn't there, So it's just, so it just, my whole life pretty much changed. My priorities are a little different, and it really makes me thrive to keep up the work that I'm doing with the single parents in need, my nonprofit. And I just want to kind of engage into that, curate over into that, because I see so many single parents and they're having such a hard time. And it's basically a quarter of Americans are actually living in single parent homes, children living in single parent homes. And that's about 23% of the population. And that's horrendous. I mean, really. But we have single fathers as well, not only single mothers, but we have single fathers as well. And when you see those cars wrapped around when we're out there giving away food, you would just, and it's not just people at risk. These are middle-class people. Inflation has gone up, gas prices are still not really leveling out. And the houses, people really can't afford to buy a house because of the interest rates. So it's just a lot of different categories out there that really, you have to really think about what you're going to do. Normally, like, oh, I'm going to move. No, you can't do that. You got to really see what the economy is. And then now with some of the mothers that are single and they're older and they have Social Security worries because the debt ceiling is so high, it's just so many things out there that's on the table and it's like we can't do it all, but we try. I mean, we try to help with people that need utility assistance. Some people don't have money for rent. It's just so much in my inbox every day. And, but we try to do the best that we can. We don't get a lot of donations because people don't have money. They don't have extra $1 or even $2 to send. And, but I have donors that send me $5 a month, has been doing that since I've been with Spin. I have one that does $100 a month because they can afford it. And they've done, direct deposit, and they have a savings and stuff like that. But most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck when you're talking single parent family.
I'm gonna let you get into that. Share organization that you work with that helps families. I know you got something coming up. I'm gonna see, can we bring Sylvia in? Miss Sylvia, how's that audio? I see you got happiness of being a grandmama.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, and kudos to you for raising your grandchildren, because I know it's important.
Yes. Well, they're with their dad, but I do get them whenever summertime, sometimes on Christmas, right after Christmas, because they spend his family is from Maryland. So I go get them whenever they get done with their little celebration and Christmas. But I usually get them Thanksgiving and then during the summer. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good. Yeah, that time you have is so important to them. It will mean a lot to them when they grow up and they look back at it.
Yes.
It really will.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you want me to keep going?
Well, you can. I could let us know your organization
Okay.
that you're working with, because we said as a teaser, we said a lot of times mothers are here, all they go, but when mothers are left to take care of their children,
Right.
either through acts of God, tragedies, but a lot of times now gun violence.
Right.
And you involved with the Ben Crump organization.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. Let me explain to you guys how it happened.
Okay.
I was doing a fundraiser for single parents in need. We have single parents in need, and we do a fundraiser every year. I do a fashion show, Big Fashion Week Dothan, where we go in and we do a boot camp for the kids on one day. We do a fitness challenge for them on the next day, and then the next day culminates into the fashion week. So I was working with the Cochran firm at the time. I was on a contract, a short contract, not a long contract. And we were at the National Black Lawyers Association. And I saw Mr. Crump. I have been following Mr. Crump probably since 1998 or so, when it was a case involving some children that had disappeared and they were actually had been killed in near Panama City, Florida, where I was stationed. So so when I saw him, I had always followed him, but I never really got a chance to get up close and introduce myself. So I did, being the person I am, who was right there. I introduced myself and I said, I'm Vanessa Riley Moore, and I'm the owner of Lady V's Etiquette and Consulting. We do a fashion week every year to raise funds. Would you be a guest speaker? Would you mind coming to speak for me? And right off the bat, he said yes. When he heard about the cause, because his background, he was raised by a single parent, Miss Helen Crump, and right away he could identify with the need. And so ever since then, we had just kind of kept in touch. And after the fashion week, and then my daughter, Alicia, my oldest daughter that passed away, she said, well, Mom, she says, well, why don't we do a feeding program? Because my nonprofit always feeds. She said, but I want to do a feeding. I want to start an initiative to feed across the country. And I was like, oh, okay, that's a good idea. And I just procrastinated, and I think I was telling you about this, Mr. Drummer. I was telling you how I just was like putting it on the back burner. And so she emailed me again, Mom, have you talked to Mr. Crump? No, I haven't talked to Mr. Crump, Alicia. I'm going to talk to him, give me a couple of weeks or a day or so. Because I was really, really busy during that time. It was during COVID. And I was feeding a lot of people that was in need. So when I finally sent the letter, as a matter of fact, I think I got it here. It was 2021. I can't really remember the month, but it was before she passed away that I sent the letter. But I think it was like maybe right within the same month or so. And when I sent the information, and I'll send it to you because it's a partnership letter that I sent to him, and explaining to what we were going to do and things like that. And he approved it that day. But before he approved it, I had went to his office and I said, it's something I really just going backwards right now. I said, I really want to talk to you about a program that I'm interested in. I want your support. And so he was like, well, what is it? And so I said, well, it's a feeding program, because he put me on the spot because I wanted to just send the information, so he can look at the letter. And so I told him, I said, well, I really want to start this initiative. I want to feed across the country. I want to do about 4 states, 4 cities. And I said, I want to call it. No, he said, what do you want to call it? And I said, well, I was thinking single parents in need, SPIN, because we abbreviate it like that, SPIN, Ben Crump Feeding Initiative.
Wow.
So he was like, so I was like, oh, he's not gonna like this. So he thought about it and he said, well, why don't you call it Ben Crump SPIN Feeding Initiative? I said, that's fine with me. Whatever. I just want the initiative. So he explained it. He said, well, first of all, he said, number one, the reason why I want you to call it Ben Crump Spin is because, first of all, you're going to get more support. And secondly, I'm going to put my name on it. My name is on it. Our law firm name is on this. So basically,
it's a lot of weight.
Right, a lot of weight. So he believed in that because of him. He was raised by a single mother, and we have a couple of videos where he's actually talking about that. Actually, we had I did a Zoom call one of our fashion weeks, and he talked about why he was partnering with me, and so it just meant a lot to be able to help some more people, because even though you see the gun violence, and I see that all the time, every time he goes live, it comes to my phone, and it's like, wow, another person is losing their life. And a lot of these people are single parents. They come from a single parent home. Somehow grandmother's raising them or something like that. Or they were needed. They were loved. So for me to be able to do something, as far as with the communities that are in need, I'm just happy that, that mission is being, I won't say complete, because it's never going to be completed, but at least we're pushing a little small dent. We're making a small dent in how many people that's actually out there on the street that needs food. So,
wow.
So that's how that started.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's a touching story there. And when you have something that you continue after a loved one, I know a lot of times, especially now, I've seen so many people that had to bury their children that they started something afterwards. A lady who was drunk drivers, I think she started MAD, so many things, and Sylvia, I know there are some things that you're doing when it comes down to, we were saying earlier, we call your mother hen because you got you got your kids and then you got us.
Yeah.
And you're trying to help us, when you think about all the hardship that people go through and deal with, you're doing something to kind of bring some type of comic relief. And it's the type of comedy that you can take your mama to.
Right. Yes. I'm doing a gospel and comedy show. Saturday, June the 3rd. It's going to be in Snellville at the Connect Point, 3755 Centerville Highway in Snellville. It's to bring comic relief because people are going through hard times right now. And a lot of them want some relief. They want to go to comedy, but they don't want the raunchy stuff. So the comedy we are doing is good, clean comedy, good, clean gospel to feed the soul, and then the laughter to make you laugh. So we're trying to bring it out there. And I have one associate already who's bringing her mom and her grandmother and some more people, because, and they're like, well, I guess, if it's a mom and grandma, they're senior citizens. But yeah, they want to come, so she's going to bring them. So I'm looking forward to it, because everybody need a laugh. They need that release, yes. So we're bringing it on to them. And that is like right after, June the 3rd at 7 o'clock. Doors open at 6. It's the Connect Point in Snellville, 3755 Centerville Highway.
Wow.
And you can get the tickets at Eventbrite also. And the topic is Lord, I need a laugh. Lord, LAWD. Lord, I need a laugh.
And you gotta say it like Mama and them say, Lord, I need a laugh.
Lord, I need a laugh. Gospel and comedy show. Ooh. That's what it is. Lord, I need a laugh. Gospel and comedy show. Yeah, so It's going to be good because parents right now they could use a relief. Going through this graduation and prom stuff and being afraid with the killings in schools, they need that relief. So this is a good time, for them to come out and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, that's good. I'm putting that on my calendar. I know I'll be coming back from DC on June 1st. And I usually stay in Atlanta for a few days before I come back down here. I don't rush to come back here.
Yeah, both of y'all from, what you got Alabama, Mississippi. You from Mississippi,
right?
I was telling Miss Vanessa. I said, well, your town's small. If you got to go to Alabama to see a concert, now we used to have to go to Dothan, Alabama, her hometown, to see shows because we didn't have one in our hometown, and so I think about all that we bring a lot of small town flavor. And I think that's what moms do. But I wanted to share this. I don't know if she's going to be able to get on there, but Letitia was sharing with me earlier and before. When you have a man that's celebrated on Mother's Day, okay? I think she was about 8 years old when her mother died. And like you say, sometimes you have the grandmothers step up, different ones step up. But in her case, there was no grandmothers to step up. So their daddy had to raise 3 girls. Okay, you got to look at a male, got to raise 3 girls, got to do all this stuff for them, take them through the little girl things. You got to deal with this periods and teenage years and all this stuff. Your daddy got to do all that. And she said they used to give them a Mother's Day card and gifts and stuff, and he cried before them, but he was a whole man, but sometimes we don't see the single men that step up to be mom's role. My mother, we gave her Father's Day cards down the position. People say, well, you can't get a woman. Oh yeah, I guess you got to get the right woman. They can, it's some stuff I learned when I got in the military, but I think a lot of stuff that I learned from my mother is still what I use today. And I think about my mother had a sense of humor, especially as she got older. I didn't know how tight it was. She would talk about people. She would get down. And, my mom was a church-going lady. And she'd go into the church and she critiqued, the young ones. She critiqued the preachers. She get down with it like that. Something happened here. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hey, I don't know what happened. My audio went out, but we're going to get that. But maybe you all can share some memories, other memories with your mothers, about your mothers.
Okay. Well, I can tell you a few things about my mom. She was always there. When I was young, my mom was the smartest woman I ever knew. She was always smart. And then when I grew up, she was there for me when I left home. She didn't like it at all. She was upset, but I had to go. But things like when I had my first baby, I live here in Atlanta and my mom was in Mississippi, 400 miles away. When I was in the hospital to deliver my baby, my mom came and she was there before I got out of the hospital. So she was there for me. With my second baby, she couldn't stay, but she came and got me and took me back to Mississippi so she could take care of me and my babies. I had 2 of them then, so she could take care of us. When I had surgery, she came up here and stayed with me until, I could get on my feet. So my mom has always been there. If I needed money, if she didn't have it, she would borrow the money for me. And not only things like that, but I remember foods, being introduced to eggs and onions. To me, that was a good thing. Somebody might say, eggs and onions, yuck. But it was so good. Milk and cornbread, peaches on peanut butter. those are the things that my mom introduced us to. And we would just sit out on the porch, and she opened some peaches and put peanut butter on. We just sit there and eat it right there on the porch in the summertime. I mean, just things like that. And she would take us, on trips. We would go to the beach, on the coast. She took us to visit family members and stuff like that. She introduced us to our family. Wow. So my mom, she was big on family. I know one of the things I saw that really I admired about my mom. One year she had some money, and the neighbors down the street, it was a single lady, and she had about 5 kids. My mom bought every one of her kids an outfit to wear to church, for Christmas. So I'm going, whoa, my mom. And right to this day, I think about my mom's generosity, how she helped that family. They didn't ask for it or anything. She just wanted to do that for them. And all her nieces and nephews, she would buy stuff and give it to them. And my mom kept 5 deep freezers. Okay. So she would feed everybody. When her grandkids went off to college or got their own place and they needed food, they go to my mom to get it. Friends come to the house to get food from my mom out of the freezer. So she was a generous person, so I think about those things with my mom, how generous she was, how kind she was. But, you didn't step on her. That was one thing. You did not step on her toes, because she would get you off real quick. But she was a kind person. And I love that about her. I remember when I was in middle school, elementary, I think it was, we were going on a field trip. All the girls said, I'm going to get some culottes. I'm going to get culottes. And we told my mom, we got to have some culottes to wear on this field trip. My mom went and bought those culottes so we could wear them on the field trip. When I was a cheerleader in college, and so my mom, after the game, she would meet the bus. When we go off on the game, my mom would meet the bus on the side of the road somewhere so we could get off and she can bring us home. And we didn't have to go all the way back to the school. So stuff like that. She was there for us. I got to give it to her. She was there for us.
Yeah, so. Right. I think the one common denominator with Southern families is that it really is, that's just, it's innate, it's in them, it's just a part of who they are. Just to piggyback on you about my mom, like I said, she taught school, and some of the kids that she taught, they didn't really have a lot, growing up. So every summer she made us go through all of our clothes, and what we were not wearing and hadn't worn in a while, you put it in a box and I'm going to take it to the school. And so she was so giving to her children, as far as the ones at school. And most of the kids, she was the first Black teacher at Phoenix City, Alabama, back in the day. Wow. And my mom had told me a story. She said, Vanessa, I didn't know that when I would go to the conferences, there was always, this security guy around. So she asked her principal, she says, why is it, every time we go to a conference, the security is here? And he told her, he said, we're protecting you.
Wow.
And so my mom has always been a fighter. She was a fighter during the civil rights movement. She was at Alabama State during that time. And like I was telling you earlier, they had a really big family. And my grandfather and my grandmother was very fortunate to be able to send 7 of those kids to school, to college. And that's, and just what they had to go through back then. My grandfather, I remember she had to quit school at one point. She first went to St. Augustine, to I think it was something normal college, but she had to quit because my grandfather got sick and she moved back home. But she never quit because she knew how important education. I mean, that was like that's all they talked about in my family. It's not when you're going, where you're going, and how long it's going to take you to finish. I mean, that's just how they were back then. And I think that, I mean, it was really great for me, but back then I'm thinking everybody could go to college, But then when I
Mm.
Air Force, and I'm like, one of my roommates, she was sending money home to help her mom because they didn't have it. And so that's why I just appreciate my family and the history of my family and how they just, my mom was I think some of her kids at school was asking her, did she pick cotton? My mom said, no, I didn't pick cotton. And, my mom was 90 years old when she passed away in 2017. She said, no, we had a farm. We ate steak. We had our own farm. So most people think that though, that when you come from the South, you pick cotton. Every family, they didn't do that. Not everybody had to. So I just, her tenacity and her perseverance to go back to school after her father because that could have been, her whole trajectory of her life could have changed at that point. That would have been an excuse as far as what we call it. Oh, that's an excuse. So, and her giving, she sees someone coming up the street and their shoes, worn, Vanessa, go see if you can find this child some shoes, go, here's some money to go, just like your mother. And I think that's why I am, it's not think, I know that's why I'm like I am now. I take a lot. Everybody always tell me, like when I came home from all those years, everybody was like, oh, I hadn't met you because I was gone all those years. And they say, you're just like your mom. You have her demeanor, you just have her grace, and all those things. I'm like, thank you. That means a lot to me to say that I'm like my mom. So,
Yeah.
and that's why when I was listening to you talk about, experiences, we experienced a lot. When I went to Alabama State with her, she would take me to where they used to march over in Selma. Dr. C.T. Vivian, she told me the story about his wife getting, put in jail, and she gave her purse. She said, here, could you please take my purse and get in touch with my husband?
Wow.
C.T. Vivian's wife. So it's just so much history, and she could tell us so much about the civil rights and where we, what all happened. And just to have someone like that, she was a walking history book. She taught history and she knew it, especially Black history. She knew it. So, and I just think that the kids today, they don't take those things, they're like, okay, they take them for granted. And I tell my girls now that, you really have to be thankful for your family, and, a lot of people don't have an opportunity to travel like we did. My kids used to say, Mom, when we get grown, we're not traveling anymore because we're tired. But yeah, they still decide to travel though. It's a difference when you're in the military and you traveling,
Yeah.
So they got an opportunity to see things. My grandkids right now, we're going to go to Massachusetts. One of them want to go see the campus of Harvard. We're going to go to Harvard. We're going to go to Connecticut. Those New England states, we're going to get those because we've gotten all the South, pretty much all the South. So they'll probably get 50 states before they turn 18, probably. That's my goal. I want them to be well-rounded. And mothers want their children to be well-rounded, but it's a lot of mothers that don't leave their city. So we took my etiquette class. The senator came out, the state senator he was from OP, and I had an etiquette training going on in OP with the director. She was the one that was paid me to come to train. So she had the senator to come and check out the class. And he was so impressed. He invited us to the Capitol. And do you know how good it feels to have those kids to be able to go meet the governor? I mean, because they wouldn't have gotten that exposure anywhere else. And so my goal now is to try to get more kids involved with, how legislatures work, just to be sitting in the chamber to hear these bills being passed. Because it gives you, if you can't see it, you can't be it. So if you can actually see what's going on, and I tell the kids all the time, your presence is your power. I don't care. They can say you can, go to school, get all these degrees. If you don't know how to conduct yourself, if you don't have the right presence, you're not going to have a seat at the table, and you're not going to be that one to have that competitive edge over someone else getting hired above you. So that's what I'm going to work on next is taking children to different places and letting them see, because kids just sit around in one place. That's all they're going to see. And that's why you see all this violence. That's what they see. They may see violence in the home. They may see it with their friends, and that's all they know. So you think about what you putting in their head. That's where this violence is coming from, along with all the inflation, and people they're desperate right now. So back to my mom, I think that she really shaped the way my life has. She didn't like the fact that I went in the Air Force right away, except for going to college. But the thing is, I was waiting on a acceptance letter from University of Alabama. And if you remember back in the day, they would accept all the Caucasian people first. And then later on, and see, back then I was very impatient because I knew I didn't want to be in Alabama. I knew I wanted to see the world. And I told my mom, she was so upset with me.
Well,
so upset.
Hold that thought, Miss Vanessa. We just got another brother in here. Looks like he got something to say. What's up there, Brother Adrian?
Oh, man, I'm so glad I see y'all again. Excuse me. Happy Mother's Day, or shall I say, enjoy the Mother's Day for the females that's in the room.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And salute to the brother for acknowledging me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You got something.
What's your last name?
You got something to share.
What brought me here?
I know you got something to share about yourself, your mother.
Yeah, I was telling greetings to Miss Sylvia. I haven't seen her since I came at People TV and did my interview before on about disabilities. But it's getting really to the point right now that they're passing a lot of legislation and putting money into disabilities. Now, by me being representing the disability community at 53 years of age, been living in the disability community for 13 years, been living here for 10 years on Rock Street, for one of the biggest developers in Atlanta, Georgia. There's a problem, not so much with disabled people, but how we being, handled, how we being watched, and then how we being handled. And the city councilman ain't doing it. I'm about tired of him. I got it's more than that, but I'm gonna spare y'all tonight now.
Okay. Well, we got to have you come, because another thing, a lot of times people don't understand about women, when it comes down, especially with disabilities. I know many women, they love their sons and daughters that have gone through some challenges. No matter what happens, mom's gonna hold you down. Mom's gonna be. Very few women that be like, ain't nothing I can do for you. Always think about whatever. Right. It can be like Forrest Gump. They say, man, your mama really must love you. That scene in Forrest Gump. But
right. And I'm glad you said that. Thank you very much.
Yeah. But and I know you came on to round the tail end, but one of the things in closing, maybe you can share how to get in touch with you, what efforts you're working on.
I can do that. Well, first with the number, give y'all some numbers, because there's two numbers on me that y'all going to need, and so they're both of them are open. They're open. Well, I said there's something told me, hey, this must be God, because I called Miss Sylvia. I've never called before. I don't think I've seen her in 2 years, and you see how this is happening. Miss Sylvia got a gravitation magnetic spirit on her.
Are we calling the mother hen?
I'm telling you know what I mean? I'm just checking it out. Okay, y'all ready for the numbers?
Hit that number.
Okay, the first number is 678 718 5647. The other number is 470 783 9621. Okay, and I also have an office number which nobody knows, but that's area 470. I'm gonna give it now though.
Okay.
579 8778. There's the 2 7s in there.
Okay.
Now that's how you get a hold of me. The name of my organization is Targeted. That's TARGETED, Targeted. Youth, ROUTH, Operations with an S, Incorporated, fully spelled out. We are currently level at the Secretary of State, and we also are registered in the state of Michigan. But that was the first registration for I came in from Michigan. But we still there, but we're not operating there.
Well, thank you, my brother. Miss
You
Sylvia,
my brother.
Yes.
Man,
it's
it's good to see you too.
Coming up and how to get in touch with you, that type thing.
Right now the whole thing is before I leave to come back to People Television and tell a different story this time. I'm kind of tired of, I'll be okay, but the struggles y'all been going through to keep it open, the meetings I've seen y'all having at the commission, the budget hearings and stuff about keeping y'all open, I don't like it. So I tell you what, I'm gonna come in and shake it up and the best I can. And they don't want a lot of things. No, man, I'm in this council, man. This council is a little weird to me.
We're gonna work on that. We got a matter of fact, I have to bring you back, and that's part of something we got to share. Talk about keeping public access. We talk about that a lot. But as we close out,
then I can bring the pain. Then I can let me bring the pain, man.
Yeah, we're gonna let you bring that pain, my brother. But as we close out, Miss Sylvia, what you got coming up and how you get in touch with you and that type thing?
Okay, what's coming up is the cookbook is the gospel and talent show, gospel and comedy shows coming up Saturday, June the 3rd at 7 p.m. It's open at 6. You can get your tickets at Eventbrite. Lord, I Need a Laugh gospel and comedy show. Eventbrite, Lord, I Need a Laugh gospel and comedy show. That's Saturday, June the 3rd at 7 p.m. Yeah. Of course, I am a published author, so you guys got to get my book, Power Thoughts, Empowering You to Be Successful in Life. So you can Google that one, Power Thoughts by Sylvia Hayes, or you can go to AandKProductions.com, AandKProductions.com and get the book.
Thank you.
And one more thing I want to say just before we leave is remembering my mom. Every year, my mom would charter 3 or 4 buses and take kids to New Orleans to Lake Pontchartrain. That's what she would do because she said these kids don't go anywhere. In the summertime, they don't go anywhere. They stay at home. And so what she would do is she would charter these buses and pack them with kids and take them to New Orleans. And that was one of the things I liked about my mom, and I just wanted to share that too.
Okay.
Can you say New Orleans again? Can you say New Orleans again for me?
New Orleans.
Yeah.
All right, Miss Moore. Let us know even the dates that your feedings are going. Let us know how to get in touch with you, how we can participate in some of those efforts.
Okay, well, right now, Mr. Crump and I, we only have the one date out, but we're going to put the next date out probably in a few weeks. That's the Ben Crump Spin Feeding Initiative, and it's going to take place in May 20th from 1 to 4. So if you know anyone that wants to come out and get some canned goods and food and some toiletries, it's all non-perishable items that they can get. And we have other people donating some things as well. And I'm partnering with Margie's House. They're on 304 Fairburn Industrial Boulevard. That's where the feeding is going to take place. Even though it's Margie's House is located at Crossroads Church. That's the facility that she actually have a nonprofit that she operates out of the church. And I was there last weekend, and it was great. She had a feeding, but it was maybe 150 people. We're going to feed 1,000 families. We have 1,000 bags of groceries, and that's what we're going to do for coming up in May. And I'll keep you posted for when the other dates coming up. Like I said, last year we did 6 states. 22, 23, we did 6 states. We partnered with Al Sharpton in New York with them. We gave away gift cards because it's more conducive to do stuff like that in New York with feed, because New York is just so spread out that I just didn't even want to feel safe going to the grocery store trying to get all this food. So there was no base around either. If it was an Army or Air Force base, it would have been a lot more convenient for me to do that. So we partnered with him, and then we partnered with the Martin Luther King on our last stop in 2022.
Oh.
And then we partnered with Tampa, Hillsborough County Schools in Tampa. And we partnered with the Botham Jean Foundation. That's the young man that was killed when the lady came in and shot him, thought it was her house. We partnered with her foundation, and was it in Dallas or Houston? It was in Dallas. We were supposed to partner with the George Floyd Foundation, and Mr. Crump decided we were going to partner with Botham Jean. So we partnered with them. So we did 6 states last year, ending in the end of 2022. We just started up in 2023 because, of course, you all know all these shootings that's been going on. I mean, to get Mr. Crump. I talked to him last night, and I told him about the conference call. I know he was like, it's Mother's Day. This is the only time I have to spend with my mom and my wife. So I kind of understood that. But we're trying to still get the video he's going to do to support, what's going on May 20th. So that's all I have as far as what's coming up. You can go to our website, Spin Helps, just to see what we have going on. If you know people that even want to donate, bread, whatever, water, whatever you want to can donate by the 20th of May, then they can get in touch with me. And my email address is bencrump.spin. That's BENCRUMP spin. And that stands for Single Parents in Need Nationally, SPINN initiative @gmail.com.
Well, definitely thank you all. Ladies, again, happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the women out there.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Biological moms. And one of the things we did put out, I think, was during this time period, try to reduce violence. Act like you're in front of your mama. Most of us would not behave the way we behave if we were right by our mother. I've seen brothers get in check because their mama was there. I would get in check. First time I started smelling myself, time my mom came into the space, I mean, my mom could do it today. I don't think she got to lift her hand if she was able, it would be that power. So that's just the power of a mother. But definitely in today's society, our shout out goes out to all you mothers, all the anybody that steps in to help protect our children. And this is the We Are Ready. We want to make sure that you like, share, subscribe over here. Square Mile Media Atlanta. Reach out to the ladies in your family. You still got time. It's about 10 o'clock over here. You got time to call the ladies in your family. Just tell them Happy Mother's Day, either whether they're biological mothers, whatever or not, just to say a shout out to all the women in your family. Just say, hey, how you doing? Text them. Let them know that they are valued. And when the women start feeling valued, that will return our communities to a position of self-sufficiency, because the men are out there. We hunters, providers, and gatherers. But when the women bring that compassion, that etiquette back to the community, the men start behaving better, because men trying to make sure they impress the ladies. And when the ladies can control you, like I say, your mother. That's why we're celebrating this Mother's Day. But with that being said, this is Reginal Drummer, the peopleologist. And for everybody that joined us, continue to follow us and go over to that Moms on a Mission page on Facebook and share any story that you have about the mothers or the women in your family. And with that being said, let's make it a great day and let's take care of ourselves. This is Reginal Drummer, the peopleologist.